Alright, Fairmouth. How are we doing? World Sim Series MX5 Cup Season 2 for me. Round 2 at Lime Rock Park. Race 4. Whatever it might be in the title. I think it's probably Race 9 by now. So, one person was doing free practice. They did 5 laps and got up to 1 minute. Whether or not they were just tootling around or whether or not they were trying to improve themselves, take corners faster, God knows. But whatever. Going into the 3 minutes practice, Keith Holt did set a time in Artis Exusus. I cannot pronounce your name, I do apologise. Was clearly just tootling around because they were bored. I didn't set a time. Into qualities, Jay Bina, who I believe is quite high in the standings, with a 57.4 quali lap there. Next up, 58.6. I got 58.9. That was my banker lap. It was also my lap. Sorry, that was my last lap. My banker lap was basically also 59.0. I kept just going off because I was pushing, I was trying to find the limits of what was possible because there was only 4 competitors. I could see there was only 4 competitors. You can see I've got 3 incidences there as well. I wanted to know just how far I could push in places. There was also in that race a time when we were qualifying. I was coming under the bridge and I came off. And I tried to stay on the grass, and I ran out of grass and ended up getting catapulted onto the track in front of someone doing their hot lap. So, apologies to whoever that may have been. Anyway, with only 4 of us in the race, a podium is fairly likely, particularly with a guy that can only get a quality time of 1 minute. So, I ought to get a podium. And I wanted to be pushing for second, if not following first, and seeing where first was faster than me. Anyway, here comes that race. Right then. Didn't get a very good qualifying in there, did I? Righto, come on now, warm tyres, let's not crash and let's do good. I mean, I'm giving the poor guy a lot of space, but stop trying to overtake me in the fast bit, mate. Oh, man! God, I've not been very good this race, have I? Fuck me. Fuck's sake. Oh, this fucking dog shit traction control. God damn. Ooh, that might be 57 actually. 58.3. What that last lap then? R08 want a clutch. Also, I think I'm going to start practicing without traction control because it's pissing me off. Like that there. I don't think it needed to kick in there. It definitely didn't need to kick in there. So, it was a podium. It was +1 set rating. Meow. Fastest lap of 58.15. And I think that's about the limits. I might just breach 57. But I think that's pretty much the limits of what I'm going to be able to do without load cell, without clutch, and with traction control turned on. So I'm assuming I can turn it off at least anyway. So today is Friday night. It's like midnight. I'm not going to do any more races today. But Saturday is a day where I can spend a lot of the day having a bit of a go with traction control turned off. I've not got a lot of confidence for turning it off because I've learnt this car with traction control turned on, and switching from on to off is a hell of a change. It's a dramatic change, including off the line. Like your start, your formation and your start is substantially different. You really have to balance your launch, and without a clutch that's going to be really, really difficult. But I think it's the only way I'm going to get a better time. Now I can presumably, if it turns out that I can't do it, I can't do it. But presumably Saturday is going to be full of races. There's going to be more people racing during the day on Saturday because most people have Saturdays off. If I can get a bit of practice in relatively early and find that I'm good, I might be able to chuck together a series of wins if I can get good without traction control. If I can turn it off, if that's even possible. If it's not possible, I don't understand how people are able to do 56 seconds a lap. Because you can't power out of a corner if you've got traction controls turned on. I am arguably, I'm aware that I'm not really reliable enough to speed. I shouldn't be contemplating turning traction control off right now because I'm still crashing. I'm still leaving the track. But in a good number of cases, that's because I pushed it past the limit and traction control is stopping me from being able to recover it. If you don't quite know or you're not aware, when you start sliding and you start losing adhesion on the back of the car, but the front is okay, that's, you know, when you start oversteering. In most cases, that it wasn't intentional, at least. In most cases, the thing to do to recover the back end is to give it more grip. Obviously, the entire car has a finite amount of grip, and while the back wheels are not powering the car, the weight is evenly distributed or on the front, probably a little bit more on the front. But when you start accelerating again, then the weight goes to the back. Now, when you are beyond the point of adhesion and traction control has kicked in, you put your foot on the accelerator and nothing happens. No power goes to the back wheels. Therefore, you can't transfer more grip to the back wheels, and you can't catch your spin, your slide. All you can really do is steer into the slide and hope that the front will bite sufficiently to bring you back round, and that you catch it just before the back end flies in the opposite direction, which is really, really kind of difficult. Whereas if you have traction control turned off, then you can put a little bit of power on, the back end beds down better, and then all of a sudden you actually rotate back in the direction that you're steering, rather than just sliding along sideways with your steering going into it. So I feel like I have to make the transition to traction control turned off now, before I get the better equipment. I don't know how good auto clutch is, and I don't even know whether or not auto clutch even works in World Sim Series races. I'm going to discover that. But I'm going to practice with auto clutch turned off at first, which will mean that I will be spinning absolutely freaking everywhere. Then I'm going to practice with it turned on and see whether or not I can spot the difference between the two going into free practice. Hopefully I can go into free practice with like an hour to go, so I'll sign up for one that's not due to start for an hour and a half, and then I'll get like an hour and a half's worth of practice with whatever settings World Sim Series enforces on this. But I need to practice with traction control turned off. If I were racing anything that had aero, something that had any aero at all, I wouldn't be considering turning traction control off, particularly not in this game anyway. I might, if it was competitors only, I might be considering turning it right down, to the point where it might as well be off. But in this, it's either on or it's off. And traction control is designed to stop you from crashing on roads. It's not designed to, unless it's designed specifically for that car, to make that car faster on a track, in which case it's a very good idea to leave it switched on. In the case of things like the MX5, it's designed to stop you from crashing on public roads, on national highways, not on racetracks. On racetracks, you would be expected to turn it off and get good. Unless, you know, it's like a Mazda specific made race car. Like, actually Mazda have entered as a constructors team to enter this specific car, and it was made as a track car in the first place, to the point of GT level. You know what I mean. So tomorrow, I do a lot of practice with traction control turned off, and in the next race, assuming that there is going to be one, you get to see whether or not that's made any difference. I'm hoping, hubris possibly, maybe hoping a little bit beyond anything that I have any reason to hope for. I'm hoping that it will give me about a second a lap on this particular track. I will crash a lot more with traction control turned off, but it will force upon me the necessity of measuring accelerator input rather than just going, right, I'm trying to come out the corner now, let's just put my foot flat down. Because that frankly just isn't working. I mean, I very nearly won a race in Division 2, but I didn't win it. And I am nowhere near competitive with the guys in Division 1. And my interest in this is to improve, is to get good. So, traction control off, and there is a rant about why. Anyway, the race doesn't really have a lot to say. I was pushing it into the penultimate corner constantly. In the first couple of laps, when all tyres were cold, the red car behind me, I was feeling pretty damn pressured by that. I wasn't taking my ideal lines because I was trying to defend, and I was trying to defend too heavily. That is part and parcel of racecraft, but then when I dropped down to third place, I dropped off the back of him, or them, because I wasn't concerned about who might be coming up behind me. I mean, the other guy finished 2 laps behind. Presumably their first lap, their first race. They will no doubt improve. So I don't think there's a whole lot to say in that race in terms of analysis of where I can improve. I pushed the limits of what I can do with traction control on. So, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. When you come back for the next race, perhaps I will have a lot less hair. Perhaps I will have given in and kept traction control turned on. Or maybe I don't have a choice and I have to have it turned on anyway, but I doubt it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Look after yourselves. See you in a bit.